Continue with the Operation Encore Edits, where I read to you edits of the FBI's Department of Justice's report and their investigation of Saudi government financing and logistical support to some of the 9/11 hijackers, especially in Los Angeles and San Diego. The name of this edit is called Anwar al Awlaki and Omar al-Bayoumi Contact Increase meets with Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hazmi. In this edit, I will show you how certain Saudi officials that denied their involvement with any of the hijackers have basically were basically calling each other in preparation of meeting these people in Los Angeles and San Diego. And you'll understand what I mean when I read this. And what I'm going to do is basically make myself disappear so you can see the whole thing, right? So Omar al-Bayoumi invited the two, Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hazmi, to move to San Diego, California, right? Now, remember, you know the story about Omar al-Bayoumi. He meets him at the Mediterranean Cafe, and he basically just has a chance to meet with them with an associate named Kason Bindan, and that they exchange phone numbers. And then Omar al-Bayoumi basically tells them to move to San Diego. And he goes with them because he lives in San Diego. Parkwood Apartments. While they're there, Omar al-Bayoumi helps him get a bank account through Anwar al Awlaki, who calls the bank. Omar al-Bayoumi then pays for the first month's rent, the second month's rent, throws them a housewarming party, helps get them driver's licenses in the country because al-Mihdhar and al-Hazmi can't speak English. Omar al-Bayoumi could. Now, through the Canestraro document, it is stated that the CIA had an open file on Omar al-Bayoumi, which was a bombshell. Nobody wants to report it. Florida Bulldog did. I'll give some credit to Gray Zone too, but nobody else reported it. Okay. At this time, al-Bayoumi's telephone contact with Muased al-Jarrah increased. Now, Muased al-Jarrah, of course, everybody knows, or for those who don't know, please go look at the other previous videos where I do a more descriptive background profile on Muased al-Jarrah and the others involved with this operation. But Muased al-Jarrah is the head of the Ministry of Islamic Affairs in Washington, D.C., who is actually in charge of this operation inside the United States regarding the San Diego, Los Angeles connection. And he has two emissaries, Muattab al-Saderi, and I forgot the other guy's name. Can't remember. Anyway, he sends two emissaries to be his eyes and ears and be in close contact with Omar al-Bayoumi in San Diego, Fahad al-Tamari in Los Angeles, Anwar al Awlaki in San Diego and Virginia, and Osama Basnan in Los Angeles, in San Diego. So once the hijackers moved from Los Angeles to San Diego, al-Tamari's telephone contact with al-Jarrah was diminished. So in other words, as you can see here, when they were coming to Los Angeles, Muased al-Jarrah and al-Bayoumi's telephone contact increased. But al-Tamari, who's the contact, I'm sorry, al-Bayoumi's San Diego. I get it mixed up. So because they're heading to San Diego, but because they're leaving Los Angeles, Fahad al-Tamari doesn't need to be in contact with Muased al-Jarrah. So the most important man in this whole operation is Muased al-Jarrah. al-Bayoumi assisted the hijackers in renting an apartment in San Diego, co-signing a lease agreement with them. He also assisted them in opening a bank account. Of note, approximately 1 hour before taking the hijackers to the bank, Anwar al Awlaki called that specific bank location and had a 2-minute conversation with an unknown individual. Approximately 1 hour after setting up the accounts and leaving the bank, Omar al-Bayoumi placed a call to Anwar al Awlaki. Now, the unknown individual may be just a civilian bank employee, doesn't know what's going on. Awlaki is a very powerful man. Probably just said, hey, there's two guys, they don't speak English well, I'll help them open a bank account. While in San Diego, Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hazmi attended the al-Ribiab Mosque where al-Awlaki was the imam. He was also the imam at the al-Masjid in Falls Church, Virginia. So, as you can see here through this edit, very important, really important edit, because you can see that it's no coincidence now that once the hijackers were in Los Angeles, Muased al-Jarrah would stay in contact with Fahad al-Tamari, who was the imam at the King Fahd Mosque and who provided 2 weeks lodging to Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hazmi, as per said by the 9/11 Commission, Dieter Snell, where he says that the 9/11 Commission could not find where they stood for the first 2 weeks. They stood with Fahad al-Tamari. Once the hijackers met Omar al-Bayoumi through that chance meet in the Mediterranean Cafe, Omar al-Bayoumi told them to move to San Diego. So the calls from Muased al-Jarrah to al-Tamari decreased, but the calls to Omar al-Bayoumi increased between himself and Muased al-Jarrah. Not a coincidence anymore. So this is it, right? They knew what they were doing here. Omar al-Bayoumi, Fahad al-Tamari, Muased al-Jarrah. All three. By the way, all three are in Saudi Arabia. Now ask yourself, why is it the United States continues to protect these men? These men who may or may not have intimate knowledge about 9/11, but definitely assisted 2 known al-Qaeda operatives inside the United States. It's a crime. Assisting and abetting known criminals. Remember, the CIA is at war with al-Qaeda. Declared in 1999 by the DCI, the CIA, George Tenet. Meanwhile, the CIA is running the whole operation from the counterstrail document now that we have. Bombshell? Yes. Because it means that George Tenet and the director of operations, James Pavitt, are guilty. But yeah, did you know a third building fell on 9/11? All right, that's the end of this edit. I will continue to provide more edits in the future as well and more productive. All right, guys, thank you very much for staying tuned, and I'll see you in the next video.